the dirt, no rest for the real. Still spine straight, I'm a soldier, no chill. Snakes in the grass, they creep and conceal. 20/30 vision, better sharpen your steel. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Prepare for the lies, let the darkness live. Echoes in the swamp, whispers in the wind. Legacy to build, can't let the devil win. Cash rules the weak, but my soul don't bend. 20/30 knocking, better cleanse that sin. They want us to sleep, but the light stays on. Fake smiles, fake friends, all of them gone. Cages of comfort, we breaking out strong. Roots in the south, but the fight's lifelong. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies, let the darkness live. Prepare for the storm, skies turning gray. The wolves in the suit got dues to pay. From the ashes we climb, no time to delay. The real ones prepare for the judgment day. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ARP in the morning. I'm your brother Wise, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. I hope all is well with you guys on this fine Wednesday morning, middle of the week. It's hump day. We here halfway through the week, man. The weekend is upon us. It's right around the corner. Y'all gonna blink and it's gonna be Friday. It's gonna be panel show day. Y'all already know. What's going on with you guys, man? I hope all is well. Grace and peace to each and every one of you guys on this fine Wednesday morning. You know, I thank you all for pulling up, man. I really do. Please make sure you hit that like button. And when you hit the like button, don't just let us know you hit the like button. Let us know what number you are in the chat. I appreciate you guys. That seems to be working out pretty well. But I do appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys so much, you know, for everything that you do. And I want to kick things off. You know, I want to go to the chat real fast, but before I do that, you know, I want to show some love to some folks real quick. Shout out to Marilyn Lindsay for joining the ARP family. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting what we're doing over here at ARP. I do not take it for granted at all. Such a blessing. Thank you very much. Shout out to Malachi with the $2 super chat coming through early. Kingdom at hand. Bryson Gray. Thank me later. Y'all make sure y'all check out Bryson Gray. Bryson Gray's fire. Bryson Gray's fire. Shout out to Mama 1961 for joining the ARP family as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate you and Marilyn supporting the channel. Thank you guys very much, man. I really, really appreciate it. I do not take it for granted at all. You guys are a blessing to me. Y'all really are, man. Y'all don't even understand it. You guys bless me on a day-to-day basis, you know, when I see you all. Let me show some love, man. Shout out to my guy Hunter in the building early. Shout out to you, Hunter and Melissa. Man, y'all was up in here early, having your own dialogue and conversation. Shout out to you guys, man. God bless you both. Hunter always comes through with the Bible verse to properly get things kicked off. We wouldn't be able to do what we do, you know, without God, right? You know, Christ is in the center. He is in the forefront of all of what we're doing over here. And, you know, I appreciate Hunter always coming through. You know, I could do it myself as well, but I actually appreciate, you know, Hunter's contribution, you know, to this, man. Little youngin'. Shout out to you, Hunter, man. Appreciate you, brother. God bless, man. This is from Psalms chapter 34, verse 15 and 16. It states, "The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil, to blot out their name from the earth." Thank you very much, Hunter. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Shout out to Melissa this morning. Appreciate you pulling up this morning as well. What's up, Lori Addison? Y'all make sure y'all follow Lori Addison's instructions, and please remember to hit that like button. Let us know which number you are when you hit that like button as well. Thank you, Lori, for pulling up this morning. Shout out to you. We got Scott Jung in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Hope all is well. What's up, Ed? How's it going this morning, man? Thank you very much. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Shout out to LJ with the $2 super chat. Thank you, or super sticker. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, sister. God bless you. Shout out to Michelle Roderick. Hopefully I pronounced that properly. Joining the ARP family. Thank you very much. I appreciate you as well. And shout out to, how do you say this? I'm struggling to read here, but we'll just say Miss Jackson. Thank you very much, or Mrs. Jackson. I'm not sure which one, but you can't go wrong. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for joining the ARP family. I really appreciate you all. I really, really do. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Good morning, Marcy Richard. Thank you very much for pulling up. What's up, Shelby Dodd? Appreciate you pulling up this morning as well. Grace and peace to you as well. Omega X. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. And they gotta switch this back. I cannot stand when YouTube does this. But thank you guys for pulling up this morning, man. I appreciate you all. Thank you guys very much. We got Ryan Stegall in the building. Thank you very much for pulling up this morning. Appreciate you guys, man. What's up, Sapphire K9? How you doing this morning, sisters? Good to see you. Glad you pulled up this morning, as always. Appreciate you. What's up, Angela Montgomery? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Dion in the building. Shout out to you. Dion's going to be on the show later today. Looking forward to that. If you guys are not aware, we are doing a evening panel show tonight. This is number one. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well. But I will say this. It's not going to be as heavy as the morning show. I think it'll be a little lighter. You know, some of the topics that we're going to discuss, you know, going to be a little lighter. You know, obviously we're not going to go out in the left field, but they're going to be a little lighter. But appreciate you guys. And thank you, Dion, for being willing to participate this evening. If there is anyone that would love to be a part of the panel shows in the evening, shoot me an email. Even though I may not be able to get you on today, but I do like to have, you know, just a roster of folks that I can reach out to and see who can and who cannot. We're going to start off with one, and we'll see how it works out. We're going to start at 8:30 tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this evening, and we'll go for about 2 hours or so. You know how that goes. You know, some of these folks are long-winded. Dion. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, that's the plan. But if there is anybody that would like to participate, shoot me an email. All right, you guys should have my email. What's up, Miss Katz? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Cool Ramon in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Appreciate you. You say that. All right, Sonny Wright in the building. Thank you very much for pulling up. I can't hardly see that. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, B? How you doing this morning, sister? Appreciate you pulling up, as always. Appreciate you. All right, who else we got up here early this morning? All right, Chisaxi in the building. What's up, Hadassah? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Hope all is well with you. All righty. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get the show started. What's up, Sugar Shane? Amber Young. Papa Dodd in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, Carolyn? How you doing this morning? And Voices for the Voiceless. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. We're going to go ahead and get the show started. We'll get things kicked off. Make sure I didn't miss any of the super chats here. All right, we got a few additionals. All right. Thank you very much. Our defo, I'm sure that is not your actual handle. We got to YouTube. You got to get this fixed, man. But thank you very much for the $5 super chat. It says, God bless you, brother Wise. Your laugh needs to be bottled and sold. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shout out to Marla with the $2 super chat. Says, good morning, Wise. Appreciate you, sister. Thank you very much. And shout out to, is it Hilda Howard? Hopefully I pronounced that properly, with the $2 super sticker. Thank you very much for supporting the channel this morning, man. You guys are a blessing, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys very much. You seen the thumbnail, seen the title, so we're going to get there. Hopefully we are where we need to be at when it comes to likes. I believe on YouTube, we have like 309 people. We have 311 people total, in the building early this morning. Please make sure y'all hit that like button for me. That's the only cost the only cost to join the live stream this morning. Hit that like button, man. It doesn't cost you anything. Thank you, Beverly Hale, for the $2 super sticker as well. God bless you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you supporting the channel this morning. Thank you guys very much, man. What's up, Queen? What's up, Queen Bee Heart Hive? How you doing this morning? It's good to see you. Hope all is well. Appreciate you pulling up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And let's get things kicked off, man. Hit that like button for me if you have not done so already. All right, let's go.
Looking who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name? Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me? I don't think Senator Schumer can hear me right now. Maybe the government shutdown included audio on Capitol Hill.
Oh my goodness. The government shutdown is now in its second week. We got to talk about it, man, because right now it's considered the fifth longest in U.S. history. I think this thing is going to go a whole lot longer. It could get to a point to where it's the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. And right now, both sides are digging in. But let's be clear. Let's be clear. This shutdown, it isn't about budgets. It's not about fiscal responsibility. This is political theater. Let's just call it what it is. This is all political theater. And at this time, the Democrats, they are the stars of their own self-inflicted disaster. What's happening in Washington right now is essentially political, let's be politically correct, political self-unaliving. Let's do that for YouTube's sakes. All right. Let's do that. That's pretty much what's happening right now. We're not going to let up. As we creep and get closer to the end of the year, when we get into the 26, I would almost assume that on a week-to-week basis, not only myself, but a multitude of channels out there are going to be talking about the 2026 midterms. And as we get closer and closer to the midterms in 26, we're going to ratchet it up because we got to, and we got to have a turnout like no other come next November. We got to have a turnout like no other. But what's happening right now in Washington is they're literally destroying themselves. Seriously. I mean, you have Democrats blocking a clean, continuing resolution right now. A bill that simply keeps funding at the same levels they approved back in March. No tricks, no cuts, just paying the troops, the veterans, TSA, and federal workers. But because Trump's back in office and Speaker Mike Johnson's holding the line, Democrats suddenly oppose the very kind of bill that they passed for years. And why? You may ask that question. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out why in the world are they doing this? And the reason is because the Democrats are greedy. Simple as that. That USAID money, it's gone, and they're trying to figure out a way to get some of that bread back. That's really what it is, because the DNC's coffers are light. That's really what it's about. These people want more. They want to renew the Obamacare subsidies. And yes, they want taxpayer-funded health care for their new voter bloc, the illegal immigrants. I'd say you can't make this up, but you can because it's real. But they think the American people are stupid. I want you guys to hear from Speaker Mike Johnson, and he's going to lay it all out there. He's going to let it be known, hey, this is what this is really about. Check this out.
They're demanding $1.5 trillion in new spending paid for by American taxpayers. And I want you to be specific. I want us to be specific. I want you to note what that counterproposal includes, because we've not yet gone into all the details of it, because it's large and very absurd. But here's some of the highlights of this. It would reverse common sense reforms that Republicans made in the Working Families Tax Cut that keep illegal aliens off taxpayer-funded health care. This is a fact. Page 57, Section 2141 of their counterproposal, as we've been posting everywhere. And it would, they would add the illegal aliens, non-citizens, back to taxpayer-funded benefits. It would cost taxpayers nearly $200 billion. They would also remove a very reasonable and modest work requirement that we put on able-bodied young men with no dependents. As we've said, they should not be riding the wagon and taking Medicaid. That is intended for vulnerable populations, the elderly, disabled, and young pregnant women, for example, and not young able-bodied men without dependents who are playing video games. We put that into the law because it's common sense. Their counterproposal would reverse that. So taxpayers would be funding them again. They would make in their counterproposal permanent COVID-era Obamacare subsidies without any income caps or any other reforms at all. They would make that permanent. That would cost taxpayers an estimated $358 billion. They would take away the $50 billion that we put into the law to support rural hospitals. They would remove that. And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on the CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa. And $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that. These are unserious proposals from unserious people, and they're playing games while real Americans are being harmed adversely by the shutdown.
Yeah. You heard that correctly. Now, doesn't that sound eerily familiar to some of the things that the USAID was paying for? Doesn't it? Doesn't it sound eerily familiar to some of the foolery that USAID was paying for? I mean, if this is what the Democrats want, fine. Let's keep the government shutdown going. When you're $37 trillion in debt, not a single dime, penny should go to any of this nonsense. None of it. The demands prove this was never about governance. It's about optics. It's about power. Simple as that. Democrats are dragging out the shutdown because they think the media will blame Trump. They're betting on the headlines like Republicans shut down the government, even though the House already passed the funding bill. The only thing stopping it right now is a Democrat-led filibuster. This is a quick civics refresher for you guys. We talked about this earlier this week, on a shorter video, but the Senate needs 60 votes to end essentially the filibuster, to pass most bills. Once they get the 60, then they can go back and they can actually vote. And they really only need a 51-50, but to stop all of the debate, you got to get 60 people, which means you got to get 7 Democrats to cross the aisle right now. So yeah, the Senate, the Republicans do own the Senate. They have the Senate right now, but they don't have the Senate in the way that they can just do anything. There's 53 Republican senators right now. 53. Now, if they had 60 to 61, we wouldn't be in a shutdown right now. There'd be no shutdown. But because they only have 53, opposed to the 60, you need 7 Democrats that are willing to cross the aisle for cloture, which would end the debates. And they don't have 7 right now. Republicans do have the majority, but they do not have 60. So Democrats are using the filibuster, not because they oppose the bill, but because they don't want Trump getting credit for reopening the government. That's simply what this is about. It's not policy. This is a prideful act. And the irony is that these same Democrats who scream about protecting democracy are the ones holding the country hostage for foolishness. Foolishness. Republicans offered a clean bill, no cuts, no add-ons, just stability. But Democrats refuse to compromise while pretending to be the adults in the room. And you know it's bad when even the media starts to notice. Hakeem Jeffries, he's been whining that Speaker Johnson won't meet with them until Dana Bash asked the obvious question. Can't you just walk down the hall, go knock on the man's door? Can't you just do that? Yeah, this is what he had to say.
Try to find
You're
common
right down
ground.
the hall from Mike Johnson's office. I know exactly where you are. You could probably take a few steps and go knock on the door and talk to him. Have you tried that?
Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission to have a conversation with me or Leader Schumer, and he said as much earlier today.
So you don't think he would talk to you at all?
We can have a conversation, but the problem is that until they get the green light to actually have a meaningful discussion to try to find common ground and a bipartisan path forward and a willingness to address the damage that Republicans have done to the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people, then of course any informal discussion is going to be not fruitful.
Timu Barack Obama, right at it again. And the thing is that this man, he doesn't want dialogue. He doesn't. He doesn't want dialogue. He wants airtime. Jeffries is grandstanding on CNN crying that the big bad Republicans won't even talk, even though the bill already passed the House. And while Dana Bash's pushback, it was surprising. This is CNN we're talking about here. It was surprising. The rest of the media, they just ran the usual playbook, spinning, shielding, and shilling for the Democrat Party. CNN, MSDNC, all of them have become extensions of the DNC at this point. We've been talking about this for quite some time. We're cycling the same 2008 style narrative. Trump's weaponizing the shutdown. But when that fell flat, they pivoted to fear-mongering. The troops won't get paid. And guess what? Trump saw that coming a mile away. He saw it coming. Now, my son, who is currently in the military right now, my oldest, that's my guy. That is my guy. He popped by the house the other day, or a couple of days ago, on a humbug. We wasn't expecting him to come through. Normally he calls, but he doesn't have to. You know, this is home. And he popped in, and I'm looking at him like, oh, snaps, what's up? And he's like, oh, Dad, you know, we're not going to get paid, this, that, and the third. And I was talking to him about it. I was like, they found some money. They're going to make sure the military folks get paid. They're going to get, you guys are going to get taken care of. You mark my words on that. They got their paycheck on the 1st, so not an issue there. They did get their first paycheck. They get paid today. And this is what the president had to say about that.
You have the money to pay the troops on October 15th? Okay. How is
I actually have a man who is a very wealthy person, you'll know that when I tell you this, who called a donor, a great gentleman, and he said, if there's any money necessary, shortfall, for the paying of the troops, that I will pay it, meaning he will pay it. How about that? I said, look, we're not going to need it. We're going to take care of our troops. But this was a position that's being forced upon us by Democrats. And all they have to do is just.
There you go. Now I'll say this, man. We got to make sure that we take care of our men and women who wear the uniform. I think we should take care of those people. They should definitely be prioritized when it comes to, getting paid. And to be honest with you, they really should be considered essential when it comes to getting paid. They are essential. They still have to go to work. But when we have these types of government shutdowns, we shouldn't be playing with their resources, to be honest with you. They shouldn't be in the middle of that. That's just my personal opinion. I think that our military members, when it comes to, government workers, they should definitely be taken care of first before anybody else in the government, to be honest with you. If I wish Trump could put a executive order in there that, hey, anytime there's a shutdown, no one in the House or in the Senate or in any of that, no, if you're in that, you don't get paid. Not you, not your staff. No one gets taken care of until this situation is rectified. Seriously. But that's also why President Trump ordered Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to use already approved funds to keep service members paid during the shutdown, cutting through Congress's gridlock, and right on cue. The Democrats cried foul and they called it illegal. You can't make this stuff up, man. They called it illegal because apparently taking care of our men and women who serve our nation is a crime in their book. These are some despicable individuals. These are some despicable individuals, to say the least.
About these paychecks going out during the shutdown. I don't think anyone's opposed to people being paid, but people look at this and say this could actually extend the shutdown because it takes out some of the pressure points that might exist that would lead Democrats and Republicans to come together.
Oh, you know what? Of course I want our military paid. Of course I want federal law enforcement officers to be paid. There's a way to do that. I'm an appropriator. We should have passed appropriations bills. There's a way to run a government, and this is not the way to run a government.
They're sickening, man. But we're starting to see a pattern here, right? We're starting to see a pattern here. Democrats lose a talking point and they melt down. Trump finds a way to pay the troops, during their shutdown, and suddenly it's illegal. Really? Maybe they'll sue him for keeping, our men and women in uniform fed while they bicker over a budget. I mean, like I said earlier, this is political theater, plain and simple. You've got a president trying to keep essential services running and the troops paid, men and women who risk their lives on a day-to-day basis while Senate Democrats play games with their paychecks. And I got to say this, man, especially the enlisted folks, they don't make a lot of money. Let's just keep it a buck. They don't make a lot of money. I served, and I know there's a lot of people that watch the channel that serve. Hey, a lot of us, we check the check. A lot of us are check to check. We are truly the 1st to the 15th. And most of us are broke, especially early on. Your young soldiers, your young sailors, your young Marines, your young airmen. Most of us, man, we're so fiscally irresponsible. I'm just calling it what it is, man. Most of us, man, 2-3 days before the pay period, man, we are broke. Everybody is in the chow hall. The chow hall is thick. Those that serve, y'all know I'm telling the truth. And the reality of it is that, honestly, the enlisted folks don't make that much money. They really don't. There are people that are in the military right now that really and truly are probably right there at the poverty line. If they have a family of 4 or 5, they're right there at the poverty line. And if it wasn't for some of the extra benefits, you know, the BAH and some of that other stuff, man, folks would be struggling. But those that don't receive those types of benefits, whew, I'm telling you, man, yeah, we're not the most fiscally responsible group out there, to be honest with you. Young people in general and young military members, yeah, we tend to overdo it. You know, we'll go out and buy a car that we know that we really can't afford. We'll go out and do that. You know, we at the bar 6 days a week, the bar or the club 6 days a week. Yeah, we overdo it. We overdo it for sure. Now, my son, because he has me and you know, a multitude of my friends are, it's amazing how this works. And Kirsten, you can answer this question for me, but it is amazing how we tend to find each other as military members. I've been out the military for a long time, but almost most of my friends that I hang out with are vets. Now, they weren't all Navy, but they're vets. It's some kind of way, we're like magnets to each other. You know what I'm saying? It's really weird how that works out. It really is. But before my son left, a lot of my friends, they knew he was going. And obviously I'm having conversations, but when they would come through or we'd have some form of event or something along those lines, they would always just, you know, impart some wisdom on them and things of that nature. And then one of my really good friends, he actually has 2 kids that are in the military. They're both in the Navy. They're all Navy. They joined the right service. And, you know, the same thing for them, man, we gave them so much wisdom, you know what I'm saying? An insight as to what they're getting into, that they aren't doing the things that we were doing. You know, my son, he's like, Dad, a good time for him is, you know, him and his buddies, they might go to Applebee's or something along those lines. He's like, Dad, I did the club thing. It's not for me. It's overrated. Drinks too expensive. You know, it's you know, parking, all of that type of stuff. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So he was raised right. You know, that's not his thing. He's more of a homebody, which is good. And he's stacking and investing. But when I was in, and there's still a lot of folks out there that, hey, they check the check. Check the check. So I'm glad that the president, but that also goes back to having a veteran in that position, you know, in the position that Hegseth is in, to understand that, hey, a lot of our military members can't afford to go a paycheck and more or less 2 paychecks without receiving a paycheck. They would be hurting. Seriously. And when you start missing bills, especially if you have a security clearance, things of that nature, you start missing payments on your car and all these types of things, it actually affects your security clearance. So it makes sense if they know, hey, this thing's probably going to drag out to where potentially military members wouldn't receive paychecks for 2 to 3 weeks. We need to make sure that we take care of these folks. We need to make sure that we do this. You know, we need to make sure that we take care of them. But for these Democrats to come out here and you know, threaten to sue the commander in chief for doing his job, which is to, you know, lead the military, but also make sure, you know, I'll talk about this all the time. When you are a leader, your job is to serve, right? So the commander in chief, yes, he is the leader of the military, but his job is also to make sure that those people are taken care of. His job is to serve those people as well. And for these people to get out here and act like they want to sue the commander in chief for doing his job, we got to give these people the side eye. Seriously. The bureaucracy jumps in there. You know, Biden era holdover still buried inside federal agencies, start playing politics as well. DHS released a video blaming Democrats for the shutdown, and airports refuse to air it. You can't make this stuff up, man. You cannot make this stuff up. It's outrageous, man. It really is.
Nome, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Now, I want to say this, for my young folks out there, if they are watching the channel and even for my, my folks in here, especially if you work for the government, there's literally been a shutdown of some sort almost every year for the better part of about 5 years or so. I think people need to understand that, hey, these shutdowns happen and you need to have, at least at minimum a month's worth of your bill money set aside for a situation like this at minimum. Because you know that these folks, they can't act right. They cannot get right. So I do think that you folks need to start thinking about being a little more proactive. I think a lot of times people get these government positions and they like, oh, it's security, but they don't think about these, the fight between the right and the left. They don't think about it. Seriously. Kirsten, I'm with you. 6-month emergency fund. I know, people hear that and they're like, man, that's unrealistic. Okay, if you can't do 6, at least 3. And if you can't do 3, at least have a month reprieve at minimum. At minimum, a month. 6 months, phenomenal. If you can get the 6 month, phenomenal. But at least have a month. So it's like, no one should be a paycheck away from losing everything. Seriously. No one should be a paycheck away from losing everything. That comes back down to being fiscally responsible. And I learned that the hard way back when I was one of those check to check folks out there spending every dollar I got and was broke. You know what I'm saying? Waiting on that paycheck. I do agree with you, Angela. 6 months is a phenomenal number. It is. But that's a lot of money to have stacked up. Especially in a country right now where, let's just keep it real, 90% of Americans don't have $1,000 they can get to right now. 90%. 90% of Americans don't have $1,000. And I think the number was like between 55 and 60% of Americans didn't have $400 that they could get to. Folks got to start thinking. We got to start planning. People need to become more fiscally responsible. And that doesn't mean just being able to save money, but that also means, living below your means as well. Living below your means. This wasn't meant to get into a financial, because I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch. But yeah, we shouldn't be. It's hard to stack up the 6 months when you're living super high on the hog to the top of everything that you to the top of everything that you earn, right? You really realistically, you probably want to be living on, I don't know, 30, 40% of what you earn or whatever your household income is. Live on that. I don't know, Pro. I'm gonna disagree with you on that, man. I just think a lot of us, man, we're under pressure to feel like we need more than what we actually need. Seriously. And a lot of us put ourselves in situations that we really shouldn't be in. When you have people out here talking about, man, the money don't match, but you're paying a $600 or $700, $800 a month car note, that is insane. Hey, God bless you if you're paying that type of money for a car note. Wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me. Seriously. And there was a time when I was taking care of a family of 4 on about $50,000 a year. We didn't have car notes though. And we only had one car. We had one car and it was paid off. And it was an older car, but it worked. And it did what we needed to do. And I used to catch the train to work, so wifey would keep the car. She, just drop me off at the train station. I'll catch the train to work and back and just pick me up, so forth and so on. You keep the car, yada, yada, yada. That's how we went about doing things. You got a lot of folks out there buying brand new cars, paying $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. I saw something the other day. A dude was paying $1,300 a month for his truck. Too many people trying to live high on the hog, man. It's ridiculous. Hey, Dion, I'm with you. I would rather drive an older car that I could pay cash for. Seriously. Now, rent is expensive. You're absolutely right there. I'll give you that. Rent's up there nowadays. But a lot of that is because, you know, of COVID and the shutdown. And I think you got a lot of realtors out there trying to recoup some of that money that they lost when folks didn't have to pay for what, 2 years? They're trying to recoup some of that. You know, so I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Well, LJ said, I guess I'm guilty at $694 a month. Is that rent or is that the car note? Lord, have mercy. LJ's rich. Hey, we need to reach out to LJ for a loan. When I hear those kind of numbers, I'm like, whoa, wow. Wow. That's a lot of money, man. That is a lot of money. Shout out to Beverly Hale for the $2 super sticker. Thank you very much. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Shout out to my guy Jeff with the $11 super chat. He says, the following is a concise list of all the DC politicians who are not getting a paycheck during the shutdown. Yeah, blank. Thank you. Woo. Yeah, $635 a month for a car note. Woo-wee. You guys are some rich folks, man. Goodness gracious. I've never paid that kind of money for a car note. Never. Wow. Man, y'all some rich folks, man. But like I previously mentioned, man, you know, you got airports out there refusing to play, you know, Kristi Noem's video. I mean, it's really ridiculous, man. Seriously. Really ridiculous.
Continue to violate the Hatch Act over and over again. We saw not just with this video now at airports, which...
Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. So as you can see here, this is the article. Some airports refuse to display Kristi Noem TSA government shutdown. Yet Seattle, Portland, Las Vegas, and other major hubs reject DHS Secretary's message to travelers, which I'm surprised. Well, I guess the airports are kind of, you know, their own entity, right? I guess, you know. Let me pull this up here. I wanted you guys to see that. If you guys want the article, let me know. I'll send it over to you. But you got Las Vegas, Phoenix, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, Charlotte, North Carolina's on that list, and Cleveland, Ohio, you know, who are refusing. These are airports that are refusing to play, you know, the PSA. Let's call it what it is. And, you know, all of it, you know, is a factual message explaining that the government shutdown is due, and the government is shut down because of Democrats blocking funding. And, you know, the super woke airports, you know, in these blue states, they say it's too political. These are the same airports that have no problem blasting CNN or running Pfizer ads on a day-to-day basis. You know, I don't think you can go to an airport. I haven't been to an airport that doesn't have CNN, you know, on 24/7. But when it comes to telling travelers the truth about who's responsible, suddenly it's alarmist. It's just too political. We don't want to do there. We don't do that. And here's where the left pulled their favorite stunt, screaming, you know, the Hatch Act violation, like it's some magical spell that erases accountability. I want you guys to see this here.
To violate the Hatch Act over and over again. We saw not just with this video now at airports, which, by the way, you're having airports across the country refuse to actually play that video, just so that you're aware. That is a violation. You're having employees, literally their emails are being commandeered by people in management. by others in the administration and sending out emails on their behalf. You're seeing websites being taken over with messages that are clearly political in nature. Every single one of these is an illegal, corrupt action by the Trump administration. And the Oversight Committee, Oversight Democrats, are absolutely investigating every single one of these cases. You know, we just relaunched this last week a whistleblower tip line for federal employees, for the public, that is on the Oversight website, that if they know of an instance of corruption, or they're being coerced to do something that is unethical, or they're being illegally fired from their job. We want to know about it. We're collecting the information, and we're putting together the case so we can protect the American public, but most importantly, also hold those that are doing this harm accountable.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Hatch Act, but the Hatch Act is really meant to stop federal employees from campaigning on the job. Fair enough. That's really what this is about. But this isn't campaigning. This was just a PSA. But, you know, there's a difference. There's a big difference between campaigning and actually telling the truth. Democrats broke the rule for years, though. Remember when Biden's administration plastered Vote Blue for Democracy across federal websites before the 2022 midterms? There was no outrage then by mainstream media. Zero. But now a DHS video explaining the Democrats are blocking funding for TSA workers, that is suddenly a violation. I mean, cut it out, man. Seriously. Now, I'm sure most people had never even heard of the Hatch Act before. Most people had no clue, had no idea. But this definitely wasn't a violation of that. This wasn't a campaign ad. It was a public service announcement. The government's partially shut down because Democrats refused to pass a clean bill. That's not politics, that's reality. But the reality offends Democrats because it exposes them. It's the truth. And when they can't win the argument, they censor it. You get CNN, you get MSDNC to cry partisan messaging. And the next thing you know, the truth is banned from all airports. And here's the real reason behind the chaos. Obamacare subsidies. Democrats are holding up the entire government to expand them. They're not fighting for farmers or truckers or veterans. They're fighting to protect a broken bureaucracy that feeds their donor base. Meanwhile, the fallout hits working families. SNAP funding drying up, veterans checks delayed, school aid frozen, all because Democrats want to pad healthcare contracts. And it's backfiring. Americans see through it. They see what's happening. They see that Trump and Speaker Johnson passed a clean bill while Democrats blocked it. They see who's actually punishing workers and our service members. The left, in my opinion, I believe they are overplaying their hand. This shutdown isn't about money. It's about accountability. For once, there's a president and Congress saying, hey, no more blank checks, no more fake compromise, no more moral posturing while the country drowns in debt. Democrats claim to defend democracy, but they silent dissent. They claim to fight for the working class, yet hold their paychecks hostage. They preach compassion, but fund chaos and wickedness. So yeah, you know, hey, call it a shutdown. I honestly think we should call it a wake-up call. I think we should call it what it is. This is a reminder that Democrats don't run the country anymore. The American people do. And anybody that is not focused on putting the American people first, hey, kick rocks. Couple super chats I want to read. Shout out to Wayne, or is it, Wayhep 31 with the $20 super chat says, the entire Democratic Party has to perish politically. They are insufferable grifters that think we the people are dumb. My car note's $625, but as a retiree, $16,000 a month, I'm fine. Oh, see, I knew it. I knew we got some rich folks up in here. It's $16,000 a month. Hey, that was a subtle flex, sir. Or ma'am. Subtle flex. Sheesh. Shout out to James. Velnot with the $20 super sticker. Thank you very much. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Wow. Hey, that was a super subtle flex. Super subtle flex. Sheesh. I like that. $16,000 a month. Yeah, you can afford a $600 a month car note. What kind of car you driving? What you driving? Let us know. What are you pushing, sir? We need to know. And, hey, I can only imagine. What are you pushing right now? Sheesh. I know, Kirsten. Yeah, let me hold something too. Can I put in for a loan? Oh my goodness. Sheesh. He comes through. Okay, I see you, brother. I see you. Wow. Before we keep the show going, thank you guys. If you hadn't hit that like button for me, please make sure you hit that like button for me. If you could. Thank you guys very much. And today I want to let you guys know that our show is brought to you by our sponsor, Chapter. And you guys should know that Medicare annual enrollment, it's here. It actually starts today, October 15th through December 7th. And you already know what that means. I'm sure a lot of you guys, y'all already getting the mailers. Y'all already receiving the nonstop robocalls. Everyone promising the best plan, but here's the truth. Medicare plans change every year. Some disappear entirely. If you don't review your coverage, you could lose your doctor or end up paying way more than you should, and that's where Chapter comes in. They're the only company that reviews every Medicare plan nationwide, making sure you are on the right plan that truly fits you. On average, Chapter saves people about $1,100 a year. The best part, it's fast and it's free. A quick 20-minute review, no pressure, no upselling. If you're already on the right plan, they're going to let you know. And if you're not, they're going to help you switch. Simple as that. So don't wait until the deadline sneaks up. Y'all make sure y'all reach out to Chapter today. 504-506-0860. That's 504-506-0860. You can see it right down there in the banner. Protect your health, protect your wallet, and get the peace of mind you deserve today. You make sure you reach out to Chapter. Thank you very much. I appreciate Chapter for sponsoring today's show. Appreciate it. All righty. We're going to keep things going. After I got to toss that back up here. Where's it at? There you go. I got to toss that back up here. After my guy comes through with the subtle flex. Wow. I love that. I love it. You got some people in the comment section trying to figure out like, hey, how? Or are you hiring? All righty. Let's keep it moving. I don't know if you guys heard about this. I believe so. But I would have them reach out. They should be able to definitely help. So yeah, have them call that number right there. That number, actually, anybody that calls that number, that way we get credit, when they do call that number. But I'm almost for certain, yes. But have them reach out to them directly. Look at LJ. She's like, let me hold $20. Woo, I love it, man. I love it. Congratulations, man. That is awesome, man. In other news, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the Nassau County DA's office has charged 7 people, including DMV employees in Long Island, over a driver's license cheating scheme. It started with the whistleblower who spotted something suspicious at the DMV testing site, leading to a major investigation. And at the center of it all, a woman accused of repeatedly disguising herself as different applicants and taking commercial driver's license exams for them, helping unqualified drivers get licensed to operate 40-ton trucks on our road. Now, we covered a story probably about, at this point now, that's about 2 months ago, of a similar situation down in Florida where people wasn't even taking the test. They were just paying to get a CDL license. 40 tons. Super dangerous. Super dangerous. You hear me? Check this out.
Back now with this wild.
Sorry about that, guys.
Back now with this wild story on Long Island, where 3 employees of the Garden City DMV are among 7 people indicted in this elaborate cheating scheme.
Prosecutors say they helped the applicants skip the required test, and one woman even wore disguises to impersonate test takers. All 7 are now facing felony charges.
There is a lot going on in this investigation, and Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager live now with the details in Garden City. Stacey.
Well, Mike, we all know the DMV makes us go through certain tests to get our driver's license, and to get a truck driver's license is harder, as it should be. Well, prosecutors say this was really an elaborate corruption scheme, and some of the workers at this DMV almost got away with it.
Deciding who gets to operate heavy rigs on our roads and highways is not something the New York Department of Motor Vehicles should take lightly.
Bypassing that safeguard is far from a harmless shortcut. It is a dangerous threat to public safety.
But that's exactly what prosecutors here in Nassau County allege in a 51-count felony indictment against 7 different people, including a supervisor at this DMV in Garden City, Kenesha Middleton, and her sister Jamie Middleton, allegedly taking at least 10 different permit tests for no-show drivers. You can see Jamie in surveillance pictures wearing different disguises, even fake facial hair, as she posed as a man who would be applying for a commercial driving permit. But she forgot to take off her fake nails.
I think it's pretty poor. The fingernails kind of gave it away.
So
I'm telling you, man, hey, the jokes write themselves. You showed up looking like a dude with claws? Really? Oh my goodness, you can't make this stuff up, man. Oh my goodness. Really? Oh my goodness, man. Because you may be right. You may be right with all the foolery that's going on. You may be right. I've actually, you are absolutely right. I've seen some guys that you're just like, wait, what? Yeah. But let's start from the top here, because here's where politics meets reality. The moment President Trump returned to the White House, the outrage machine called his push to clean up the CDL system. He called it, they've called it xenophobic. They've called it cruel. I mean, same script every time. Now, you think about this. We covered a CDL scheme down in Florida. We covered a driver's license scheme out in Kentucky. And I think some of those people were receiving CDLs as well out there in Kentucky. I would assume that this is something that is also happening in other cities. It just hadn't in, other states as well. It just hadn't been uncovered yet. But when they do, we're going to talk about it. But when the president said, hey, we got to clean up this CDL system, they talked about this man bad. They said he was doing, he's racist. He said it was cruel, xenophobic, you name it. I mean, same script every daggone time. Orange man bad, orange man wrong. But when you strip away the hashtags, it's clear that this crackdown was way overdue, especially in blue states where safety standards are treated like suggestions. If you're putting someone behind the wheel of a semi, 40 tons, seriously, you better make for daggone sure that they are who they say they are, that they are qualified, that they passed the test, and they can actually read the road signs. We talked about this. You had people out here driving semis that can't read English, can't speak English. We talked about it a couple of months ago. There was a guy, he crashed into some folks, killed some people. People got to understand that when you're driving these CDL, or driving these big semis, this is important. I mean, this is a dangerous job. And the examples out there are jaw-dropping. In one Oklahoma stop, police found a commercial driver's license issued to an illegal immigrant with the name field literally no name given. You can't make this stuff up, man. I don't think you guys heard me correctly. In Oklahoma, there was a commercial driver's license issued to an illegal immigrant with the name field literally reading no name given. You cannot make this stuff up. This is insane. Insanity.
And I saw something that startled me. That was ICE arresting an Indian national, an illegal alien operating an 18-wheeler in Oklahoma. And you can see on your screen now, he was carrying a New York State issued commercial driver's license. It could also be used as a real ID. His first name was listed as, quote, no name given. That's literally a real ID he was arrested with. Meanwhile, ICE has arrested at least 91 illegals operating commercial vehicles following that deadly crash back in August in Florida. That was also an Indian national. Fortunately, in this latest no-name case, no one lost their life, but this has got to...
Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe that? No name given on an ID? Are you freaking kidding me?
And you can see on your screen now, he was carrying a New York State issued commercial driver's license. It could also be used as a real ID. His first name was listed as, quote, no name given. Do
y'all believe this? This is crazy. No name given on a driver's license? This is comedy.
That's literally a real ID he was arrested with. Meanwhile, ICE has arrested at least 91 illegals operating commercial vehicles following that deadly crash back in August in Florida. That was also an Indian national. Fortunately, in this latest no-name case, no one lost their life, but this has got to give a lot of pause and concern for people that we have a lot of illegal aliens out there that shouldn't be behind commercial vehicles.
Yeah, it's really scary, Griff. And, like you said, to see that on a driver's license issued by a state, no name given, and the worst part, there's a real ID star right up there in the corner. I don't know about you all, but it was like going through a security clearance for me to get my real ID. So I can't believe that we're giving illegal aliens who have no right to be here these driver's licenses. You have these sanctuary states that want to go ahead and try to just make it welcoming for these people that we don't know who they are. And again, these are CDL licenses. These people are transporting hazardous goods, materials at times. And in some cases, we don't know exactly what they're doing. And look how many American citizens have lost their lives because of individuals like that have these driver's licenses. Homeland Security Investigations is dedicated to working with the other state police departments and our other federal agencies to make sure we get these IDs off the street and arrest these criminal aliens.
Do you guys understand how dangerous this is? And this dude had the real ID star at the corner. Are you kidding me? So listen to this. Listen to this. So you got a truck driver in Oklahoma, an Indian migrant who entered the U.S. illegally in 2023. The dude was caught with a New York State commercial driver's license that literally had no first name. DHS confirmed that he was released into the country under the Biden administration. Now think about that. Most Americans have to jump through hoops just to get a real ID. We're talking proof of residence, citizenship, multiple documents, yet somehow someone can get a CDL, a commercial driver's license, a license to drive a 40-ton rig with a blank name field. And that's not a glitch. That's either corruption or incompetence at a very dangerous level. And this isn't an isolated case. Over and over, authorities uncover CDL fraud rings, insiders taking bribes, stand-ins taking written tests, coaching people to bypass English requirements. And that's not about prejudice. It's about safety, man. Do you guys understand how heavy 40 tons is? If you can't read bridge out or low clearance, lives are at risk here, man. Seriously. Which brings us back to the Garden City DMV case on Long Island. Prosecutors say a woman showed up in a disguise, wigs, mask, sunglasses, taking CDL exams for at least 7 others, charging anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000 per test, and allegedly splitting the cash with DMV insiders, including her own sister, a supervisor. The very people paid to enforce the law were selling access to it. Now, thankfully, we do have some people that don't believe in this no snitching policy that is out here. Thankfully, we had a whistleblower expose all of this. But if one tip can uncover something this big, just imagine how many others are still flying under the radar right now. Seriously, think about that for a second. Think about how many other people are out there flying up under the radar right now, getting away with this foolishness.
Did another supervisor who acted as the whistleblower. Prosecutors say the defendants charged as much as $3,000 per permit test, 2 of them working these counters so they could wave the phony test taker through. 3 of the drivers who paid the fee ended up with commercial permits, but only 1 passed his road test. James Nurse, who ended up working here at the Town of Hempstead Recycling Center, where he spent over a year and a half driving a truck.
A government employee, licensed only through a lie, driving a massive truck through our streets.
Back here at the DMV, where everyone else jumps through the usual bureaucratic roadblocks just to get a permit or real ID.
That is very disgusting.
It's not safe, so it shouldn't be allowed.
Although some more cynical, not at all surprised.
I understand why someone might do it. I understand the frustration in trying to do it legally. Then you know what? Maybe we'll put mustaches on and put funny hats on and try to go around and beat it that way. And for a while, by the way, it worked.
Yeah, well, now those workers are facing a host of charges, including felonies such as tampering with public records and impairing the integrity of a government licensing exam. Meanwhile, the town of Hempstead has put out a statement saying they have moved to fire that truck driver that worked for them because he was never qualified to do the job.
Hey, he should catch a charge as well. That's fraud. And he was working a government position. That is fraud. What's truly alarming here is that how many more cases like this are out there. The Trump administration's push to tighten CDL standards, real ID checks, real testing, English proficiency, real accountability. It was never about culture wars. It was about safety. Protecting the standards means protecting American workers from being undercut by shortcuts and protecting families from unqualified drivers behind 40-ton trucks. Now, I've heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I've talked to my cousin and I know a couple of other people that, are truck drivers. I think I told you guys this. My pop's owned a trucking company for a long time, but he's been out the game for a while at this point now. But the price of loads have come down dramatically, and they've almost kind of, really cut a lot of your, operators, your owner operators pay, because you have a lot of these illegal immigrants out here who are essentially taking loads for next to nothing. And a lot of it has to do with they're illegals, so they're probably not paying taxes. They're probably not doing things on the up and up. And they're able to take a load that somebody that is a citizen who is operating their business properly can't afford to take because it's just too low. What they're offering for these loads. Yeah. We got to talk about the immigration angle on this as well. Think about this. These folks that can, illegal immigrants driving, they get an actual CDL. We're talking about people that are smuggling. You got document fraud networks. They see weak licensing systems as cash cows, and if you already paid a cartel to cross the border, paying a corrupt insider a few grand for a fake CDL is just phase 2 of the process for these folks. And the victims aren't just American workers. There are every family out there sharing the highway with someone who never should have passed the daggone written test, they should have been in the country in the first daggone place. And anyone who's been to the DMV, they know the setup. It's chaotic, it's slow, and it's unaccountable. And that chaos breeds corruption. And honestly, man, it is time to fix it. Strict ID verification, recorded and proctored exams, real English tests, and zero tolerance penalties for any DMV employee caught selling access. And I want to take it a step further and say anybody that is managing these folks, your job is to make sure that this isn't happening. So if anybody working under you gets caught doing this, you got to go down with them. We need real checks and balances. This isn't controversial. In my opinion, it should just be common sense. The only people, who are screaming about it are the ones whose politics depend on pretending standards are oppression. Regular Americans just want to drive to work without worrying if a semi next to them is being steered by someone who cheated their way into a license. And the bottom line is this Garden City case isn't just local news. This is a warning. When ideology replaces enforcement, you get fake tests, you get bought permits, and you get dangerous roads. And Trump was 1,000% right to crack down. And honestly, I'd like to see more of it. So my truck driving brothers and sisters that are out there, hey, don't get frustrated if they're out here pulling over, making sure you want to up and up. As long as you want to up and up, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But I'd like to see them just start randomly pulling folks. These people got to get off the streets. There are entirely too many illegal immigrants out there, too many folks out here that can't read English that are driving 40-ton trucks. Seriously. We need to just start having some random pulls, random checks, at the weigh stations. It's got to happen. Seriously. Time to double down. Time to clean house at corrupt DMVs, back it with the technology. It's not like we don't have it. And make an example out of anyone selling public safety for a couple dollars. They need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, the fullest extent, and get the max. As a deterrent for someone else. Let's see if that $1,500 to $3,000 is worth it. Couple super chats to read. Shout out to Tampa Flow Rider. Come through with the $5 super chat. Says, no car payment since 96, no house payment since 2015. The key to making $30K a month from accumulated assets. Sheesh. Man, we got some rich folks over here. I'm not going to talk bad about you about this $5. $30K a month? I'm just picking on you, man. Don't pay me no mind. Shout out to Malachi with the $20 super sticker. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you, man. And thank you, Malachi, for the $10 super chat. Says it's affecting company driver pay as well. I believe it. I definitely believe it. Thank you, Deb, for the $20 super chat. Says, Wise, I elect you for running for political office in Maryland. We need you. Lord, have mercy. I want zero parts of running for a political office. Oh, my goodness. I feel like I could be effective in other ways. I have zero interest in being a politician. TA said, man, I wish I was making $30K a month. Hey. Hey, we got some rich folks over here. That's what I'm talking about. ARP, the ARP family is the family of ballers. That is what I'm talking about. We got some big time folks over here, man. Wow. You guys are impressive. Seriously. You guys are impressive. Shout out to Renee Suzanne gifting 10 ARP family memberships. Thank you very much, Renee. I appreciate you. You are a blessing. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Mike C say, are you really kidding? That's how they stay rich, being cheap. You're right. You're right. You're right. You got a point there, Mike. You got a point there. I'm just saying, you can't come in here and flex, 16K, you go subtle flex, 30K a month. Hey, no car payment, no house note, and then you drop $5. I'm just messing with you, yo. Man, dude ain't had a house note in 10 years. That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. But that is how you keep your money. I'm not mad at you, bro. I'm not mad at you at all. That is phenomenal. I love it. That is Luby Fishing. You're right. Appreciate you pulling up this morning as well. That is exactly how you stay rich. That is exactly how you do it. Absolutely. You guys are a mess. Oh, man. Kenneth says he agrees that Renee is the best. Yeah, Renee's awesome. Shout out to Renee Suzanne. And I like the people that use the two names as well. Renee Suzanne. I like that. I like that. Alrighty. Last but not least, I want to get into this here. I told you guys I like to try to bring some positive news. And sometimes, we end the show, on a not so pleasant note. It's not on purpose, though. I promise you it's not, but, I want to bring some good news that is on the horizon at this point, or at least for those who think common sense should be a guide, of how we talk about identity. Okay? There's a surprising shift happening among young people in America where fewer of them are identifying as either transgender or non-binary. I'm still not familiar with the non-binary term. I'm not really sure exactly what that means because it just doesn't make sense to me. As a human being, God tells us that he made man and woman. That's it. In his image. That's it. So, I'm still not 100%, up to date on what it means to be non-binary, but you have less people saying that they are quote unquote identifying, as it. So, hey, now we know this isn't something that the media is shouting from the rooftops. We know this, but the numbers tell a clear story. And I do believe that it's worth paying attention to. I want to share this with you guys. And give me a second. Let me pull it up. I hate when that happens. So as you can see here, share students not identifying as male or female. And you can see this graph here from 2016 to 2025. And you can see those numbers are coming down dramatically. But there was a peak during the Biden-Harris administration. I wonder why. There was a peak during the midst of the Biden-Harris administration. You see that? The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, FIRE, surveyed more than 60,000 college students in 2025, and the results are telling. Only 3.6% identified as a gender other than a male or a female, down from 5.2% in 2024 and 6.8% in 2022 and 2023. In just 2 years, the number of quote unquote trans identified students have been cut nearly in half. That's a promising shift right there. It also shows you that young people are starting to question the idea that identity can be reinvented on a whim, or that every emotion needs a label. Maybe they're realizing it's just okay just to be. No slogans, no pressure, no performance. I mean, it's a sign that common sense is making a comeback, that people are stepping away from the noise and choosing authenticity over ideology. Now, I got to say this. If you would have told me 20 years ago, 2025, that you would have people out here saying that they're neither a male or a female, I would look at you like you are crazy. You got three eyes to me, honestly. You have three eyes to me. That's what I would think. I'm sure some of you guys, that are a lot older than I am, that if someone came to you and said, hey, in about 20 years, there's going to be some folks out here talking about they go by plural pronouns. You're going to be like, what? These people are insanity. They're insane. Are they being committed? And then you have to tell them, unfortunately, no, they're not.
It's like to be trans and work with children but not pass as the gender you identify with? Let me tell you. I work with preschool age children, about 3 to 4 years old. I guess my boss sent out an email to the staff and the parents of my room, letting them know that I'm trans and what pronouns I identify with and stuff. My coworker is great. She has never misgendered me. And when I'm in different rooms, some of the kids will ask me are you a boy or a girl? Because my hair is kind of a mid-length, but it's short enough that it applies to the kids' logic of boys have short hair and girls have long hair kind of thing. On my first day in the room, one of the kids asked me how I'm a boy if I have this thing. And then she pointed at her nose where my piercing is. I've actually had kids correct other kids on my pronouns, saying that he's not a she, he's a boy. And correct other kids. It's so cute. I've seen parents correct their kids too. The other day I was leaving work at the same time as one of the kids, and she was talking about me to her mom, and she was like, yeah, no, but she doesn't, whatever. And then the mom was like, yeah, he doesn't do whatever, and kept talking. And I was like, that's just so nice. No one's made it an issue. They're still having these conversations, which is literally.
Okay, I can't take much more of that. How many of you guys, if you on your first day of school for pre-K of all, pre-K, you pull up, you go to you walk your kid into the classroom, and this individual says, hey, how you doing? I go by they, them, their, whoever, him, her, whatever. Oh, by the way, I identify as whatever. How many of you guys are leaving your kid with this individual? Seriously. How many of you guys are going to be like, yeah, this is great. I'm going to feel comfortable and have peace of mind as I drop my kid off and head to work? Are you leaving your kid there? That's an absolute no for me. It's an absolute no. But some of you guys are a lot more progressive than I am. Some of you guys are a lot more progressive than I am. But I pull up to the pre-K and an individual like this is talking about their pronouns and such. Yeah. I'm with Kirsten, man. That's a definite, about face. And we are walking up out of there.
I am a woman. I am a real biological transgender woman. I was born this way. I will hold my space, and I will fight for the rights of transgender children. Love yourself. Be yourself. Be kind to yourself. Love.
And you wonder why people are starting to tune them out. This is insanity. Dude's voice deeper than mine. You watch stuff like this, and it's hard not to feel exhausted. Seriously. But it's more than that. Part of what's changing the tide is the shift in leadership here in Washington. With the Trump administration settling in, they're not playing along with the same old games. They've already started cutting back on funding for things like gender-affirming care and surgeries for minors. There's no such thing as a trans child. They're pulling federal dollars that were going to programs pushing these ideas in schools and in clinics. Yeah. And I'm glad that it's happening. I really am. I am glad it's happening. And I don't care who upset behind it.
These numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have decisions.
Hey, president is not perfect. He's not. Come on now. No one is. But let's be honest. We could have been stuck with Kamala Harris at the helm. We could have been stuck with Kamala Harris at the helm. I'm curious to see the numbers, in 2 to 4 years, once all that funding for these quote unquote trans initiatives drives up. Will the trend, keep dropping or settle back into reality? Honestly, it's hard to say. But one thing's clear. When you stop subsidizing ideology and let people think for themselves, the truth wins. It's refreshing to see young people push back. They've grown up with nonstop messaging from schools, social media, and now they're asking, does this even make sense for me? And that's healthy. It means identity is becoming personal again, not performative. And for parents and communities, it's a relief. Less chaos over pronouns and bathrooms, more focus on real education. The Trump team's back to basics approach, teaching instead of indoctrinating, in my opinion, I believe it's paying off. No more billions of dollars wasted on social experiments when that money could go towards real mental health support for everyone. And in a few years, hopefully, we'll look back at this moment of common sense and say, hey, common sense actually made a comeback. When identity stopped being a trend and started being a truth again, I think it's a good thing for the children. It's definitely a good thing for the parents and the families. But ultimately, it is a good thing for America. Now, I'd also tie this into what's also happening across our nation with this, spiritual revival that we have happening, across our country. I think we talked about this yesterday or the day before yesterday, over the weekend at the National Mall. And you had people out there, just praising God. And you have, a plethora of young people from the ages of 18 to 24 that are being baptized, that, are cracking Bibles open for the first time, that are attending churches, for the first time in a long time or at all. That some of these people have never. So we have some positive things happening in our nation. It's a beautiful thing when you have young people that are seeing that, hey, becoming a member of the body of Christ, it's not only the best way, but it's the only way. I was talking to a young man yesterday. I don't know if he's watching, but I was telling him, I was like, hey, you tried everything else. What else? What do you have to lose by trying some Jesus? You tried everything else. You have nothing. What do you have to lose? And I think you have a lot of people, a lot of young people that have been indoctrinated and they see the crazy. And they're seeing that, hey, there is another way. There is a better way. And I think that's a lot of the reason why you have so many young people turning to the Word of God and becoming members of the body of Christ. I think that's why we're starting to see it. And in my opinion, it is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. And I'm absolutely here for it. But that's all I have for you guys today, man. I appreciate you all pulling up this morning. LJ being funny, like, when are we getting to the good part? The uplifting part, yeah. Thank you, LJ, for the $2 super chat. When are we getting to the uplifting story? Shout out to Spaces with the $2 super chat. Says, I emailed you last night about panel OG. I didn't see an email. I didn't see an email from you, but I'll double check. I'll double check. Shout out to True Witty. Trump not perfect, but compared to the left, maybe. I would still say he's not perfect, even compared to the left. Much better than anything that would come from the left, for sure. Shout out to LJ. It's clearly the harvest, if you ask me. Jesus is coming back soon. You get no pushback from me on that. I think you're starting to see more people get that yearn, though. You know, they're getting that calling. I think you're starting to get that. You're starting to see it. But what we do need is, you know, we need those of us that are members of the body of Christ, those of us that are members of the way. It's time for us to turn our disciple caps on, right? I think it's time for that. You know, it can't be a situation where I got my situation together. You need to figure it out. Once you get yourself in order, now you need to go and share. You need to go and share. You need to go touch some people. You need to go pray for some people. And I'm not talking about digitally or from a distance. I'm talking about really go get out there and touch some people, man. Seriously. There are some people out here that are yearning in their loss. And unfortunately, we have a lot of churches that are dropping the ball. We have a lot of quote unquote pastors out there that are dropping the ball. We have a lot of them that are dropping the ball. People are reaching out and they're not receiving callbacks. We have people that are you know, trying to get an understanding. How do I get into this Bible? Where should I read it? How should I start? We have a lot of that, but we have a lot of people that are looking for guidance and they don't know where to find it. So when God places someone in your path, you make sure you be the one to show them the way. You make sure you be the one to pray for them. You make sure you be the one to give them some insight or point them in the right direction. Thank you, Shebrew, for life. Trump's not perfect, but he's always been candid and transparent. Absolutely. And I can appreciate that. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Crystal from Crystal Beyond Labels, my sister. 60,000 worshiping and praying to God in Atlanta this past weekend. America is turning back to God. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. And shout out to Crystal for being a member for 5 months. Shout out to LJ being a member for 4 months. And shout out to True Witty being a member for a month, man. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all supporting me. But you're absolutely right, man. But don't be the person to say, hey, I'm not a pastor. I can't pray for you. Hey, I'm not a pastor and I can't show you the way. Don't be that person. And if you don't know, if you're not comfortable, that means that it's time for you to get in your word, start studying so that you can show yourself approved. So when God sends someone your way, and I promise you he will, when he sends someone your way, you are prepared. You are ready. You be that change. Don't pass it on to someone else. Thank you, Crystal, for the $5 super chat. It says, amen, wise. We need to make disciples of all nations. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have too many people ready to pass the buck. Not me. Let me turn you on. Let me point you in another direction. No, you do it. You're right there. They came to you. They crossed your path. You be prepared. Again, that goes back to getting into the word for yourself. So therefore, when that time comes, you are prepared. Thank you, Rolando, man, for the $2 super chat. Yeah, see you later on the panel show. Absolutely. Yeah, Rolando will be here later today. That is awesome, man. But we're going to get out of here, man. I appreciate you all pulling up this morning and supporting the channel thank you guys very much, man. I really, really appreciate you guys, man, so much for supporting the channel via Super Chat. All my ARP family members, man, thank you guys so much for supporting what we're doing over here. You know, I appreciate you all. Thank you guys very much. I would say join us tomorrow, and obviously join us tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning, but join us tonight. We're going to have an evening panel show. I don't have a name for it yet. I'm still working on that. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to call it. But we'll showcase it tonight. Starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully you guys will pull up. And again, if there is anybody that would like to be a part of the panel, would like to be a part of the roster, shoot me a message. I'd love to have you on. I'll give you the floor and give you the opportunity to speak your mind. You know what I'm saying? This is get your opportunity to get a little bit of shine in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure a lot of you guys, y'all see this like, I can do that. I can do it. And then you get asked the question and you freeze up. I'm just playing. But I appreciate you guys, man. You guys enjoy the rest of the workday here. We'll catch up with you all a little later today. And, you know, we'll catch up with you all, man. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. You guys enjoy it, man. God bless you guys, man. Thank you guys very much, man. We'll catch up with you all a little later. Peace.
We won't stop. I won't quit. Stand for the truth. No counterfeit. Real ones rise. Let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies. Let the darkness